Hello, hello, hello. Hope everyone's having a good day today. America was another day, another dollar. Yeah, nobody got notifications, or barely anybody got notifications. I don't know who did or did not yet. But Nana didn't even get notifications. She's trying to find her way in right now. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Tia. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Susie. Minnie. Hi, William. Hi, Corinne. And of course, hi, Matt. And hi, Brenda. Florida is definitely a beautiful place. South Florida is hot today, but everywhere in the country seems to be hot, not just here, even in Europe, where they're seeing record temperatures, of course, an excessive heat wave causing thousands or at least hundreds of deaths, hundreds of dead as the extreme heat hit Europe and UK and broke many records. So it's pretty crazy out there. But extreme heat wave that, of course, has been hitting the U.S. is now hitting the Europe and the United Kingdom. Everybody else, meteorologists are calling it apocalyptic, as it's broiling much of Europe and United Kingdom on Monday. And hundreds of people have died because of the record temperatures. And now fierce wildfires. Oh, at least 748 heat-related deaths alone have been reported in just Spain, where temperatures hit 117 degrees today. 117 degrees in Spain today. That is crazy temperature. Most of Europe does not have AC. You are right. It is a rare thing there in the UK. Yeah, it was cooler here in Florida today. It rained a lot yesterday, though. Of course, the record in Cambridge, which of course hit 95 degrees today, the record there is 102. It's an extreme heat wave, though. I mean, this is a national emergency. They don't have the fuel to run the air conditioners that do have it. Yep. And that's what happens. The world naturally warms and cools. It cycles. Usually get an extreme temperature rise for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden you go into an extreme cooling cycle. Yeah, they don't have AC there because they're not used to these temperatures. I mean, this is rare, but on average, about 2,000 extra deaths in England are related to heat waves each year. It's just something that happens. I mean, but the heat wave that's happening right now is incredibly hot. It's an incredible hot issue. Of course, Biden begging for oil from Saudi's prince. Saudi prince now trashes Biden for asking for more oil, stating he's much diminished president. He's a much diminished president. Saudi Arabian prince and the kingdom's former intelligence chief called President Joe Biden a much diminished leader ahead of his visit to Saudi Arabia on Friday. Biden arrived in Saudi Arabia, of course, on Friday, due to his large part in the tour of the Middle East. But during his visit, Saudi government, during the presidential campaign, asked Saudi government to begin supplying more oil to help support production around the world. And Saudi prince, of course, has a lot to say about that. But and his statement, President Biden, in my view, he's coming at a much diminished president, as a much diminished president, than when he was first elected. He doesn't even look at him as a president. And that's a sad state of affairs. When you're looking at places around the world like Saudi Arabia, not even looking at Biden as a president anymore. As an example, on energy issues, he came in with a policy to stop completely fossil fuels usage in not only the United States, but worldwide. And now he's finding himself having to rely on fossil fuels as a means of energy shortage, to meeting energy shortages that have come about, not only because of Ukraine war, but also because the U.S. policy itself shut down pipelines and stopping issues of, discovering oil on U.S. soil. That might be a big thing. Oil permits being pulled from Alaska that have been there for years. Of course, nobody's talking about that. That's a huge oil crisis. Yep, no oil for Green Deal partners. But this is going to happen. I mean, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I know Saudi Prince is talking about maybe making a fair price for oil. Of course, Russia is definitely in the back pocket with that one. Anybody that says otherwise doesn't know what they're talking about, as Russia, of course, is trying to push for a $150 barrel of oil. And we may see that, as sad as that sounds. Ridiculous that we may see a $150 barrel of oil easily this summer. Russia's pushing forward, of course, now with the foreign currency no longer relying on the dollar as a petrodollar. We're looking like a bunch of jokes to the rest of the world. Our inflation's out of control, even though the U.S. is claiming the U.S. dollar is still strong. Of course, rising in the global market, according to them. But yet it got passed up by Russia's currency, the ruble. How? How does that happen? And how is the U.S. dollar so strong when you can get less for it than ever before? Literally. You go to a store now, you go to buy a Gatorade, used to be 32 ounces. The prices are the same, or maybe a little bit more, but now it's a 28-ounce bottle. That's just a little bit. I mean, you talk about cheese going from 8 ounces to 6 ounces. Literally cutting a quarter of the cheese that you buy and keeping the price a little bit elevated from what it was prior to the 8-ounce package. People aren't realizing it because this is what shrinkflation is. And this is what's happening around America. Prices don't seem like they're going up too much at the grocery store, but everything you're buying is half or a quarter of the size. Literally, as it shrinks in size. Wait till you turn around and you go to buy a gallon of milk and it's a half a gallon, but they call it a gallon still. Somehow they'll get away with that. We know they will because it's happened before. I mean, the polls that are saying right now, shrinkflation is going to be the least of the problems. Because 47% of small business owners are in danger of permanently closing their business here in the United States. 47%. They can't fight the fact of inflation. They can't raise their prices anymore. They're already paying way too much for employees. And the supply chain is still broken. There's elevated interest rates, of course, and the recession fears are hitting the economy. So people are spending less money on leisure items or going to a small mom and pop store to try to get the best deal they can. It's crazy. Last year, even though we were in the middle of lockdowns and everything, the small business closure danger was only around 35%. Women-owned businesses right now are at 53% risk of closure. This is ridiculous because small businesses is how America was built and how America grows. 1/10 of business owners need more than 150 or 125% of revenue they earned last summer to even stay open at this point. Because their rents have increased, the cost of their products, electricity, and labor prices have all gone up. That 24% doesn't make them any more revenue, makes them less actual bottom line revenue, but allows them to stay open, at least pay their employees. Not like the business owner is going to be making any money at that rate. Business owner needs to make money. They need to make 63% more money than they made last year to even pay themselves what they paid themselves last year. This is a problem. There's no way they're going to make 63% more money when nobody's out there spending it. They can't afford to. When it comes to either buying groceries for your house or an odds and ends for a gift for somebody, what are you going to buy? When it comes to even buying gas versus groceries, paying rent versus groceries. And now car payments are at an all-time high, over $1,000. Some car payments are over $1,000 a month. Insurance going way up. All this hitting the economy at the same time. I mean, we have bread that's reaching $10 per loaf. Price of a premium options are hitting $10 per pound or per loaf at some grocery stores. Turning a pantry staple that customers are already facing financial headaches, like $5 a gallon per gas, into these ridiculous prices. I mean, even the cheap bread at this point is already $3.49 a loaf. That used to be less than $1 a year or two ago. This is a tragic, tragic problem that we're facing. I mean, a 1 pound loaf of basic cultured nut and seed bread costs about $10.49. So what Hawaiian sweet rolls, the bag of course, King Hawaiian sweet rolls, is at $10.14 or $10.17. These are prices that are actually around in the country right now. And people are paying them. This is meant, if you go to Manhattan, you go to Farewell Market, for a plastic bag of Hawaiian Sweet King rolls, you're paying $10.19. Classic bruschetta, I can't even say it. Classic rolls is $7.99. A loaf of white bread ranges up to $7.49, depending on the brand and size. It's becoming ridiculous when consumers can no longer pay bread or pay for bread and milk and basic goods. It's going to be ridiculous. These prices are just hitting the mainstream now. We're not talking about the amount of hay that or the wheat fields that are being hayed in right now. And nobody's talking about it. We haven't brought it up yet, but we're going to talk about it tonight a little bit. A lot of these wheat fields will not grow to full capacity. They already have either mold spotting or extreme drought-ridden conditions that they're going to hay these fields in. We're only looking at 63% of the corn that's planted actually going to full harvest. 63%. Corn going to harvest. That means the other 37% is not going to make it to harvest. Talking wheat having bigger issues than that on a shortage that were already happening here in the United States. This is going to be devastating. Absolutely devastating as we're facing these facts that are going to hit Americans hard come winter, as fuel prices, of course, may go up a little bit, but natural gas prices aren't coming down. And of course, that's where a lot of heating fuel and oil prices are not going to be one of the things that go down in the economy. They'll keep going up and continuing into the winter season that we're going to be facing here. I mean, it's already almost the end of July. What do we have? 2 to 3 months before we start getting into cooler weather, really hitting the north part of the country. While record temperatures may be hitting now, we're expecting a record cold winter. Top of these prices. It's sad. Of course, the horror that's happening in Ukraine has just gotten worse as Russia issued doomsday threat if Ukraine or anybody attempts to retake Crimea at this point. A former Russian president appeared to warn that Ukraine could face another onslaught if anybody attempts to reclaim the region or contest the region even of Crimea. I mean, it's looking they will actually act on this. I mean, they're talking about it'll be a doomsday scenario if it happens. Yeah, gas is coming down and COVID's going up. Gas is only coming down temporarily though, because they're falsely inflating or releasing fuel from depots. That's going to be cut off soon. I think we got 3 more weeks of oil coming out of the national reserves until that gets cut off. And then people will really be facing the price of oil where it actually is. No more extra oil flooding the market. It's not costing any of these providers anything. But yet we're going to have to refill the reserves, which are going to be increased taxes on businesses, people. That trying to start a world war at the same time is not going to help. Russia, of course, is fining U.S. companies like Google. It's fining Google right now $387 million. Ridiculous at this point. What is Biden doing about this? That's what I want to know. Where is he? Where's Kamala Harris? Where are our leaders in this great problem? Where's our great leaders that are supposed to be representing us in every aspect of our lives? You know, the government is not made for us to serve it. It is made for it to serve us, the American people. It is about time we realized that and took it back. There's no left or right in America. There's not. It's just a way to ploy people against each other. And we fall for it time and time again. We need to say the end of it, stand up, and become one with Americans again. Fight for a country independently for what we want. Our government does not lead us, we lead it. It is just ridiculous what's happening. China is now not exporting fuel, which is going to cause a huge problem, which nobody talked about yet today. I'm surprised. Because China's global fuel exports plunged. China usually exports gasoline at alarming rates, giving us, of course, a lot of our gasoline that we use here. But gasoline exports in China are down 24% now. 24% less exports out of China. Or no, 42%. Sorry, not 24. 42%. %42% less fuel coming out of China, processed fuel. Because China's no longer exporting it. The government has recently allocated new batches of oil that were supposed to be exported and quotas that are supposed to be exported to reserving the fuel after it's been processed. Destroying our country will never allow it to be built back. That's what a lot of these people don't understand. Our country truly falls, it's over. They're saying gas prices could reach $4 a gallon. But at the same time, not even talking about what's happening. The refinery shutting down from the lack of crude. China not allowing oil to leave or fuel to leave there. I mean, South African refiners have shut down operations, declaring that there's no petroleum products due to a delay in shipment of crude oil. It's not just happening in one part of the world, it's happening everywhere. It was forced to shut its refineries producing because deliveries delayed and the crude oil supply went to its 108,000 barrels a day refinery. They shut down. They're missing another 100,000 barrels of oil a day. Countries around the world are having this issue. You can't refine oil. You can't buy fuel. There's a big problem. Tough road ahead for, of course, Biden to even try to do anything with a climate agenda, especially after going to the Middle East and begging for oil, which we might not get. Of course, they don't want to turn up the spout at all, but we'll see. Yeah, and at the same time, China may have their own program by 2025 of no selling, just making and buying their own after 2025. Here's another problem. The U.S. is now putting sanctions on China against Chinese goods being shipped to the U.S. We don't produce the goods, but we're going to sanction the goods we don't produce, which makes absolutely no sense to me. But the U.S. is now sanctioning goods that China produces that the U.S. uses daily, from your plastic forks to your medicine that you take at night or in the morning. Those items are being sanctioned. We're not letting China export them to the U.S. But yet they're the ones that produce it worldwide. So when you go to the store and you can't find trash bags or your medicine all of a sudden is not available at any pharmacy, just remember that's part of our great nation's program to sanction governments we don't like or things we don't approve of is not the answer anymore, especially when we do not produce the goods. Time now for us to stand up and tell our government, this isn't helping. It's not helping. Yeah, we need China still. Until we start producing products here in the United States, we cannot afford to just say, hey, we're going to sanction China and not buy medicine from them. Government's pretty much a controlling factor of the U.S. people at this point. They push us to fight against each other, so we can't see what's happening in the big picture, even though it's happening around the world at this point. It's just scary. We need to be prepared for what's next. It's coming. One way or another, we're going to have to face it together. One hurricane or one of these really extreme hot days down in refinery country in the U.S. we'll be faced with major oil shortages. We already know all our refineries are operating at 95% or above efficiency. That's every refinery out there. We're already having issues. Imagine if those refineries, just one of them went down, missing 500,000 barrels a day. Country that uses over 19 billion or million barrels a day, it would be a tragedy. Literally, because the shortage will just grow amongst everybody. Of course, we put more force to more refineries to try to get 110% efficiency out of them, which would cause more breakdowns. It's going to be a long time coming, but America's in for a reckoning. God bless you guys, and thank you guys for being here with me. Definitely appreciate it. We'll be live, of course, Wednesday night. We are raising money back for the channel, because if I can't even raise enough money for the channel to be supported monthly, then we're going to have to cut back on shows even more, because it does cost money to run it. But we thank you guys for being here with us. We want to get you guys the information that's needed. Brownouts are expected yet. Power outages, lots of other things. The issues with the sun, issues with freaking CERN. CERN's a whole nother thing. I'll probably do a whole show about CERN coming up here pretty soon. Just stay tuned, stay alert, and be ready. God bless you guys, and have a great night. God bless America.